businesses that provide needs for us, that's FUBU, for us, by us, then what we're going to see is our own power start to grow. We already have the power. We don't even really need to grow the power. We just need to use the power. We have 1.5, at least, $1 trillion that we spend every year. So we're funding our own oppression. We can fund our own liberation. You dig? We already have that power. We already had the intellectual power, the physical power, the creative power, the allies across the globe, Bloods and Crips coming together now. It's like they're forcing us to. This is something that we've been trying to do that we couldn't even do this effectively. But now, when we see what's going on, we know we have no choice but to come together. So let me just read 12 of the commandments of the new African revolutionary, and then we'll get to some phone calls. Commandment number 1, study-oriented. Reads, evaluates, and debates books, newspapers, magazines, and scholarly journals. Accepts the challenge of education. Commandment number 2, worker. Looks for ways in which to actively work for self. May hold a job outside in order to sustain self and family, self-reliant. Meaning, if you have a job or whatever, that's cool. But your eyes should be always on working for yourself. That should be a step rather than a goal to get a good job. That should be a step towards your independence. Big. We're trying to build our own infrastructure economically and provide needs for ourselves. Anyway, number 3, organized and systematic, efficient and diligent. Number 4, progressively collective, conscious of others, cooperative. Number 5, family-oriented, regards mate as a partner in struggle, loves children, and values trust in relationships. Number 6, we spoke about this on Blackistand, so make sure you check out the Blacktown Revival Movement episodes. Land conscious. Realizes that the only thing that nobody is making any more of is land. Number 7, discipline, strong, unyielding, and energetic. Number 8, serious, practices fair play, order, and punctuality, honest and dependable. Number 9, analytical and critical. Number 10, frugal, buys mainly on need basis, saves. Number 11, social life is developmental, involves children. And number 12, creatively aggressive, will dare the impossible as if it's possible. All right. So make sure you send a text to the text campaign. We're going to go to the phone lines.
Oh, all right. Hey, it's me, Jerimiah Judah. I just had a question on the Black Buy Black tour. Can you give me some more information on that one?
Yeah, that's basically Queen Bleezy, who's been a guest on the show and who's also a dope MC and activist. She has on Facebook a page called the Buy Black Tour, where she posts black businesses and she allows other people to post black businesses. But she also has a video documentary, or a few of them actually, where she goes into businesses where she's at, which is the tri-state area, the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area. And she goes in and talks to the business owners so you can get a sense of what they have to offer and the business itself. So the Buy Black Tour is just a place where you can not only advertise your businesses, but you can get reviews on black businesses, and you can shop with black businesses.
Okay. Yeah. And like you say, another important thing was for every $1 million we put in the bank, we can get 10 times the amount belonging to us. Right. That's a very important thing that we should stress to people. Let them know we put this money in here. There's a better chance that we can get this, loan to do what we need to do.
That's right, because the banks right now, the major banks right now in the communities, they're using that money to give loans to white people to buy up the neighborhood. So the gentrification that's happening is assisted by the banks. So even the neighborhood I was born in is now a pretty white neighborhood. You feel me? It's like they've taken over via this gentrification process.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only that, saying it's hard to get capital because when we have to go to these white banks, we have to kind of slide in as one of them, and they'll never see us as one of them, and they're gonna see us as competition. So therefore, getting the loans is that much harder, especially if it's something, a business that's particularly designed to help further our cause. You know what I'm saying? But but the reason why they're able to have so much power is because, like we spoke about, that 1-to-10 ratio. So as we put our money in black banks, that's giving them more loaning power. Yeah. Right, we can develop our own neighborhood.
Yeah. And another good point you mentioned was, you said something about the kids out there that, they like to sell weed, right? Well, what you can do is lead them to the right direction, because they got like the medical weed industry, where you can go out and get loans and grow it yourself. There ain't too many of us in that industry, to sell for medical reasons. They block us out. First they put us in jail for selling it, then they start selling it legal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the cool part about that is that the sentences are not retroactive, meaning that if you are in jail right now for possession, not even selling it, for possession of marijuana, even though it's legal in this state, the law is not retroactive, meaning that normally everybody who's been arrested for something that is now legal would be out of jail. But in this particular law, they didn't do that.
Yeah. So, there was just a couple of important points that I think we should stress on. That's all I got to say for now. I'm just going to continue to listen.
Okay. Likewise. Well, just press the 1, and then if you want to be brought back in, brother, just press the 1 again. I appreciate your call.
Okay.
All right. So let's get it to the 803-206. Area code 803. You're on Blackistand Radio.
Peace, Jay Dizzle. This is Palmetto Star, the Ratchet Revolutionary. I'm loving what everybody is saying, as far as, especially with the stress on self-sufficiency, because that's the worst question right now is the self-sufficiency message. And I'd just like to add on, with those points that you have brought up, that people could also look up the new Black Code, and that's basically we don't steal from one another. We don't kill one another. We don't sell or offer drugs to one another. We do combine our dollars, like you were talking about, by collectively as a group. We do protect our own women and children first. We do educate our own at every chance we get. We do not fight one another. Brothers protect and build up one another. Sisters protect and build up each other. Brothers protect and build up sisters. Sisters protect and build up brothers. And then we look for every opportunity in our own businesses as far as, self-sufficiency and servicing the needs of our people first. So, I would just like to add that on there as well. But I love what y'all saying. Definitely a good bill for the family and taking it to another level, because self-sufficiency really right now is the key. You know what I'm saying? However we're going to get that by any means necessary, that's what we need. You know what I'm saying? And we collectively come together as being self-sufficient, then, our nation will be more solidified.
No doubt. And the cold part is, like I said, man, we already have everything we need for a nation. We have everything but the mobilization of everybody working together. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're waiting for everybody to get on board. Everybody ain't getting on board. That's just we gotta accept that out the gate. We have enough right now. You know what I'm saying? And others will see and be activated just by the works that we do. So, any nation is pioneered by a few at first, and then others come on to build and get in where they fit in later. So, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to this economic piece and spending with ourselves and trying to have our own treasury, which we'll be having a show on with the next couple of weeks with a good brother going over the Black Treasury movement. I'm also going to be doing another show on a nation within a nation. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was. That's good. That's good. But we also have to be cognizant that, even when we do have a Black Treasury, when we do have that on deck, we need to look at, we need to look and observe and get into our own currency, because that's really what's going to be the thing that's going to push it to the next level, because we got to get off of these dead white presidents. You know what I'm saying? That's not that. As long as we're trying to collect them, you know what I'm saying? Because we have a segment of the population, all they do is print the money up and put it in their pocket. They print it up and put it in their pocket. So there is no such thing as a level playing field. You know what I'm saying? We can't have a level playing field when we're still relying on the dollars. You know what I'm saying? On these dead white presidents. Now, black people always had a degree of capital and are the money producers. You know what I'm saying? We were the ones that were doing fairly well during the Great Depression. You know what I'm saying? And Atlanta, where I'm at, even when there was a recession, Atlanta was never in a recession. You know what I'm saying? That's because those black dollars are very, very strong. Now let's take that and apply it to our own currency, and the potential is infinite.
It is infinite because it's a double-edged sword. On one side of that sword, you're breaking down whiteism, right? Because we have our own currency, especially as we see, like I was speaking about, these other nations across the globe that's looking at us like, yo, we waiting for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So imagine when now, we have a currency, our own currency system that's backed on some type of product or some type of mineral or something like that, because we're allied with the continent, or we're producing our own goods, which will make us not even need the fiat dollar, and it will make whatever kind of currency we come up with that much more powerful and competitive by default, because not only are we allied with people with raw materials, but we have our own products that we can back our dollar, the real value of our dollar, rather than just it being a printed piece of paper that everybody has faith in, which we know is worthless. So it's a double-edged sword how we build by doing that. And part of us being able to do that, part of that process is putting our money in our own bank, because that way when we do that, then we'll be able to transfer or have more resources at our disposal collectively, you know what I'm saying, as we're acquiring land, and land that has mineral wealth in it or whatnot, and developing our own industries and distribution and manufacturing and all that. So, and, you know what I'm saying, with the treasury, having a mutual treasury that we can all use, kind of like an escrow or whatnot, which gives us basically international economic influence and abilities to link with these other countries, because there's a lot of countries that they're coming off this reserve petrol. So right now, the reserve currency is the U.S. dollar, meaning that when people buy, when 80% of the world buy oil, they're switching their money to the dollar and then buying the oil. One of the reasons why they went after Iraq is because he decided that he wasn't going to accept the dollar anymore, and he was going to go for a more sustainable currency to sell his oil to, so they had to get him out the way quick. But since we have a lot of nations that aren't going for that, a lot of nations that not only aren't going for that, but don't have a history of oppressing us and that we could possibly work with, because no matter what, you have to be able to work with all kinds of people across the globe. So as that kind of thing develops and we align our side, put ourselves in alliance with the worldwide revolution against white supremacy, or whiteism, I should call it, then we're basically we got something very potentially powerful, because even our currency right now would rank us in the top 10 nations wealth-wise. Now imagine when we circulate that with ourselves, have our own treasury, have our own products that we develop, that we can trade worldwide. We're in the top 5, fam. Now we're number 1. Fuck that. I don't know if you're still on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one more call before we get back into this interview and on some other topics. Make sure that if you're listening via the chat room, via Facebook, via iTunes, or wherever you're listening from, you can also dial in at 347-989-8767. Press the 1 to join the conversation, or you can just listen. Once again, that's 347-989-8767. If you're already in the call queue, you can press the 1 to be brought in to the phone call. Let's take it to the 503.
Oh, this is Ranu Lucette, head of Haru, checking in.
Hey, sis. How you doing, Queen?
I'm doing pretty good today. It's very inspiring that I decided to check back in today, like check back into the revolution as a whole, and to hear the information that was provided through you and the brethren. how you pronounce his name, Imhotep, right? Was the first one?
Right.
But
yes.
It's very interesting, and because I'm like right at that point. Like today, I believe that nothing ever just happens for no reason. You know.
That's right.
So, being as where I'm at and myself, and how much negativity has been around me and surrounding me, and for me to finally check in, via on social media, and because a couple of slanders had been thrown out there, and I had just let it go. But I can't, being who I am and the queen and the goddess that I am, born under her roof. I have got to be conducive with what I feel is real. And the thing about it is that really, really, really makes me feel so much better, and I'm already in a higher vibration, is because he kept on saying the ancestors. And that is exactly what I've always been on. I feel like we cannot win without them.
No.
So, basically, when you were saying, let me give respect to the person who founded the RBG and everything, And so, everything that I do, or that I have been doing, I try to make sure that I give much respect to them, like who I am as a person, as a whole, as a being. I really feel like they live within me, and I do honestly believe that we have to pass the torch too. Like have the organizations for the children. You know what I'm saying? Have meetings weekly. Like even for Blackistand Radio. You know what I'm saying? Like have a place where it's playing every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like I have got to get back in. I have got to pour more libations. I have got to surround myself with people who are. I've been alone for about after the RBG, the Portland, and the Seattle chapter. Ever since May 29th, I've been kind of out of sight. So, what kind of insight do you have for me on that?
Let me respond to a few things you said real quick. First of all, that meeting that we had down there was powerful. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's been in the making for a minute before it happened. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't even seen the full effects of how that's going to affect our region and ourselves individually or whatnot. Now, everything that every time growth happens, it comes with pain. You feel me?
Oh, man.
So people will come against you, your own family. And I went through this same thing. You feel me? Your own people will come against you. Your lover will come against you. People that aren't on that same vibration, because you have to understand, if this is a spiritual warfare and we're dealing with energy and we're dealing with vibrations and we're dealing with spirituality or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? It's a dual relationship. So even by default, some of the people around you will feel your vibrations, and without them even knowing sometimes, they'll go against it because they're still under that slave master puppetry. Dig? Whether they know it or not. So by default, if you're worshiping your enemy, then anything that's going to go against your enemy is a threat to your God. You feel me? So we have to understand that, first of all. And we do have to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals, people that will help with our journey. And we call to the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? That's why we did the Ancestors Day. And I know y'all down in Portland help promote that. I do. T-Star in Atlanta had a big, they did. We had something up here we did. Now South Africa's going to be down with it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to give reference to our ancestors in the same way that they give reference to their ancestors. They keep their ancestors alive for a reason, because it's a spiritual confirmation for them. So for us, it's that. And it's power. Without our ancestors, we wouldn't be here, because we are our ancestors, and they recreated themselves as us. So last week we did the show called The Warishas, in which we made reference to 7 Warishas, which is a war angel. It's kind of like a spirituality concept that me and some comrades formed. You know what I'm saying? It's based on the Orisha and voodoo tradition and Maya and things like that. So we gave reference to 7 of the mightiest warriors in African history and on the continent, and here on the continent. And you know, we understand that collectively we can manifest things, whether it's on purpose or not. You know, and I played it from Red Pill when he was talking about how we felt after we saw the brother in Minnesota gunned down, and nobody was on that let's march and this shit. We was all on that we want justice shit. So collectively, we basically put out a hit, and then we seen what happened to Dallas. Dig? So, all I'm saying is that if we can collectively manifest things, you know what I'm saying, then that's the time. The time is now to not only know that, but to actually witness it and be a part of that. So we can collectively wield this unity together, because if you're meditating on something, your body will follow, because it's psychosomatics and your mind conceives things before you could actually do it. So you have to already conceive the idea and the concept and visualize it and see it happen in your own brain before you can actually do it in the physical. So right now, what we do is we call on our ancestors, and that you know what I'm saying, that gets us all spiritually in tune, like they did in Haiti before they went and did what they had to do for the Haitian Revolution. Gets us all on the same sync, on the same vibration, on the same idea, same visualization, same focus. So we're focusing on unity. It's starting to happen at accelerated rate. We're focusing on economic development. It's starting to happen at accelerated rate. We're focusing on justice and victory. And it's starting to happen at an accelerated rate. Even though they're not going to show it on the main news. They're not going to show us anything that will empower us. They're only going to show ways to turn people against us and to belittle the movement. And as far as the sisters is concerned, you heard the clip just now. One of the things that he stressed that I backed was that, yes, we need y'all. We need the queen. We need the queens on a sisterly, brotherly level. We need the queens on a marriage level. Build institution of marriage, family, which is the cornerstone of nation building. We need y'all in the movement. We're not on the Eurocentric shit. We can't be on that Eurocentric shit to where the woman isn't allowed to make important decisions and the woman can't lead. Listen, everybody's got to get in where they fit in, and we definitely need y'all. Any movement we had, ever, had a strong black woman presence, and that's why it was successful.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so for instance, if you don't mind me, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
So, for instance, just in a few matter of weeks, how much vibration that we had as a whole, me, you, Taz, and just conversations, getting stuff done, coming up with ideas to get done, and things like that, and then having that meeting over at my house and everything, it was so powerful. And then the cold part about it is, and I know how powerful I am. I know exactly who I am. I know exactly why people do what they do to me. I know that I can accept responsibility if I am wrong and communicate that way. But the enemy was really trying to swipe me away from from my future and my purpose, and the reason why that I am here. And it's amazing, because during this time of this Kephara, this journey within this 2 months, I have really found more of myself, and found out who I can and cannot trust, and I'm really ready to step wholeheartedly into this, into my being, you know what I mean, into my path, and work in it and live in it every day, and not be afraid of that, because that is what moves me. And when I feel like it's being messed with or tainted, it throws my whole equilibrium off. I'll be on a different vibration, and I can't do that because I have a job to do. And I know that. And that's why I know, like you said, even people don't see it, I saw and see how they are trying to take me away from my destiny. I can't have that.
The thing is, not only do you have a destiny, but you also have a blessing, Like right now, if the nation is now being built, right? If we're seeing it come into fruition, and we're visionaries, and we're conscious, and we know what's about to happen, that means that we're in a unique position to set ourselves up to be some of the best benefactors. This is where the nobility comes in. This is how nobility, when a kingdom or empire is built, the nobles are the ones that was there from the beginning, and their descendants. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that comes in later, they're citizens. They could build, they could add on, they could be great. But the nobility comes from those who understood the movement ahead of time and put themselves in position by doing the work and setting up part of the infrastructure and things like that. So we have the black media that we need. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to have a voice for ourselves, whether it's print media, whether it's radio, whether it's visual. We have to have a way, a mechanism that we can control our own message, where we can get information to our people and mobilize them, organize them to get things done, where we can call boycotts, where we can fight the propaganda when one of us is falsely painted on the news as a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You know, we have to be able to have a way to respond to that. So that's why it's important for the black media component to come together as well and merge, which is happening, so we can have independent, alternate sources, because like I said, they're not showing a lot of the stuff that we may see on alternate media. They're not showing on the main media. They're not showing us how much the people are with us. They're not showing us our victories. They're only showing us what they want the narrative to be for the rest of the people, which is Black Lives Matter and all black people are now terrorists, which is failing in schools, and they're failing, and there's more black men in prison than in college, which is bullshit. When you look at the numbers, there are not more black people in prison than in college, more in college. But the way they skew those numbers is to implant something in our head. You know what I'm saying? Black-on-black crime has been down. Not only that, violent crime has been down, not only in the black community, but across the board. But in the black community, black-on-black crime has been down for 20 years now. But they report it as if it's on the rise. So that allows people to say things like, oh, okay, yeah, a cop killed a black person, but you guys killed more than yourselves. Why don't you worry about that? Well, we've already been correcting that. You know what I'm saying? More so than it's reported. You know, so they can paint that narrative. So if they paint us in a certain narrative, then when we get killed on the streets, or when there's not justice, when unjust acts happen to us, easier for the broader society